Hello, guys. My name is Robert Urban, Robert Thomas Urban, and I've been asked by my family to record some of my escapades and events in the past. I tell them these stories and then they disappear until I tell them the next time. So that's who the audience is, people that are interested in some of my stories. And if you're here and you're not the least bit interested, just move on. So I begin my story by my beginning. I was born in Ashland, Ohio on September 3rd, 1942, to William John and Portia Elizabeth Urban. My parents were great parents. I'll refer to them in my upcoming videos, but I knew a couple of things about my parents. That they loved me. They always had my best interests in mind, and that they would die for me. And I knew that. We spent a lot of time. My dad was more of a common sense guy. I'd say great common sense. My mother was more of a lofty pursuit to study the future. They were a great combination. We spent a lot of time talking, and they were relatively strict and upcoming. He didn't give them any grief, just didn't. They paddled me when I was young, not much, but you got the message, and they were interested, particularly my mom, in the fact that I go to college because she was taken out by the Depression in the late 20s and 30s. When she was eligible for college, she wanted to go to college, but she was denied because of the Depression. So she was after me to go to college, and she saw things in the light. Would this help or hurt my ability to go to college? And my family was of modest means. My father had several dreams in his childhood. He wanted to do things like own a grocery store, own a restaurant, several others. I believe at one time he listed seven for me, and he accomplished six of those seven before he passed away in his late or mid 70s. Now, let's see if I'll check that right. I believe it was, anyway, I'll get back to that later. Mom was more of an idealist, and she studied ideas, tried to see what was going on, and we talked for hours, sometimes up to midnight, just talking as mother's son. She gave me great advice, and I can't remember, to be honest with you, any time my parents gave me bad advice. They always, and I reflected on it several times, that, I remember a couple of decisions I made based on the fact that they never gave me bad advice. They never did. And in that certain sense of they're available to give advice, do I miss them today? So that's how I got started. When I was six, first of all, I have one brother, Jim. He's 11 months older, and a sister now deceased named Ann Elizabeth. And Ann was kind of a tragic figure. She was born premature, stayed in the hospital, that sort of thing, and had polio when she was, I think, 10, and had to suffer through that. She had a bad case of deforming polio, and she just never caught life's breaks. Jim, who may well see this, Jim was a close friend. And one thing I will say about Jim, he was a little bigger and a lot stronger, and he protected me. He would not let anyone. It was like a dog protecting the property. Anyone gave me grief, Jim just started to get ready to fight. And we didn't have many fights, but Jim and I fought. Oh, yes, we fought all the time. We fought about anything. We just settled it every day. And I learned a lot about dealing with force and people directing you and telling you what to do by growing up with Jim. And I'm going to close this video out with that just to get you started. So subscribe if it's interesting. I'm making these public. Why am I making these public? Because I think that YouTube may take down private videos in the future or after a time. We'll see, but I'm going to make these public.